Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you today to our next edition of the Garden and Country Extension webinar series from the University of Arizona, Gila County Cooperative Extension. Today we have Kenny Keith with us. He's the landfill and recycling manager for Gila County. He's going to talk about an innovation we have at the Gila County Landfill. A little bit about these webinars. Thanks so much for joining us. I run these weekly on Thursdays at 11. We're in Arizona, so our time zone doesn't change. So November daylight savings is coming up real soon here. So if anybody's joining us from out of the state, please join us at the right time. These webinars feature a variety of horticultural and natural resource topics relevant to environmental conditions and residential concerns of Gila County, Arizona, and as well as any place else that these types of issues may be of importance and concern. A recording of this webinar will be posted to my website, extension.arizona.edu/Gila. Look for the Garden and Country Extension webpage and you'll be in business. These also go on to a YouTube page at the University of Arizona Cooperative Extension. So I will be sharing that a bit more with the whole list of webinars we've been doing all year long. And finally, the University of Arizona is an equal opportunity affirmative action institution. This is our agenda today. Thank you for everybody who was able to join us a few minutes early for logging in. My name is Chris Jones. I'm your moderator. I'm the University of Arizona Gila County Cooperative Extension agent. Our topic today is innovation at the Gila County Landfill with Kenny Keith. I'll provide an evaluation link, and we'll open it up for Q&A, a little question and answer discussion time with Kenny. Please put those into the chat box. You also have the Q&A available to you. Either one of those, I will feed those questions to Kenny. We'll answer those as best we can and look to get finished up by noon so we can head off to lunch. Here is our presenter, Kenny Keith, Gila County Landfill and Recycling Manager. He's got quite a bit of experience in both landfill management as well as education. He was a teacher for many years at the Northland Pioneer College up in northeastern Arizona. So Kenny, with that, I am going to pull up the other slides. Here we go. And just give me an indication on when you want me to forward these slides, and I will do so. So you are up.
Okay. Hey, thank you. Thanks for this opportunity to kind of give an update on what's going on here at the landfill and Globe. This has kind of been in the works for a number of months, probably going back to last August. I went to a meeting with Supervisor Humphrey in Tonto Basin, and they were talking about recycling, talking about what they could do with their cardboard and this and that. And I mentioned the fact that I'm trying to bring recycling back in a different way. And I told them, I mentioned the fact that Pine Top Lakeside Sanitary District does this in a big scale. They take their sludge, they take 600 tons of cardboard paper a year, and then they make, I think it's about 2,000 yards of, about 2,500 yards of compost each year. So I kind of looked at that. I knew about that program, so we, Supervisor Humphrey and myself went up and visited the site, and then we've been working on this, and then he volunteered to help us with this pilot, that he would fund it. And I was lucky enough to have Pine Top Lakeside be able to come down there with their equipment that they use. And then with COVID hit, things got pushed back, and then we were able to do this the end of September. So it's been a great thing. So we're excited about it. It was initially set for a 100-ton trial with ADOT. They were wanting to use this for their road abatement on the sides of roads. And so that's where it started. So that's where we're at. So let's go to the next slide, Chris. So anyway, like I just mentioned, it was an opportunity for us you know, I know there's a need to get rid of sludge in all the municipalities. And we have a need of getting rid of green waste as well. Instead of burning it, it'd be nice if we could chip it and be able to use that green waste. So we thought about that. And then also cardboard and paper, being able to shred it, and being able to use it and mix it into what we call a recipe or a batch and make a compost. So for this initial thing, we ended up using, let's see, 40 tons of sludge from Miami. We used 25 tons of green waste that I got out of the valley, and then 2.5 tons of cardboard paper. That doesn't seem like a lot of weight, but it's a lot of volume. So I was excited about the cardboard and paper. So in reality, it ended up being about, what did I say? About a 67.5 ton project. I know we were shooting for that 100 ton. We just didn't make it. The sludge that we received from Miami was really dry. The goal is what we really wanted, what we call biosolids being 15% wet, or other words, 85% water, 50% biosolids. So, and I think we kind of got the opposite. So it took a lot of water, and I know Chris was there and he saw how much water we were having to inject in it and whatnot. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at. And right now we've been watching it, monitoring for the last couple of weeks. Some of the piles have done really great. The goal is for each pile to get to 131 degrees for 3 days to kill all the pathogens, the microorganisms and all that. We turn it, and then we repeat the process 5 times. After that 5 times, we'll send the sample off to a lab, and then they give us a thumbs up or thumbs down if it needs more or less. So, and that's kind of where we're at. Okay, go to the next slide if you don't mind. So kind of going back to our batch, that kind of gives you an idea. The top picture, the way in the back, that's what they call a rotogrind, just a real simple, it's kind of like a little tough grinder. And that's what we use to shred our cardboard and paper. Okay. So we did, for this pilot, we were able to take 10 batches. So like I just mentioned, we used 40 tons of sludge, 25 tons of wood chips, and about 2.5 tons of shredded cardboard and paper. And then from that, we did about 69, almost 70 tons of compost. Okay, next slide. And you can see the big thing right there is you got having the temperature probe and just being able to monitor it and track the temperatures. So like I just mentioned, for Class A compost, it needs to reach 131 degrees and above for 3 consecutive days. So then we turn it and we can do this for 5 times. Then hopefully after that, it'll do well. So for this project, Pine Top Lakeside was very generous. We transported their equipment down. We transported their tractor, their Rotomixer, and the rotor grinder down. And we did this recipe of 10 batches. Okay, next slide. And there's a good picture of the Rotomix. I like this machine. It has scales on it. So everything that's put into it is weights to kind of help you get the right mixture, the right weight, the right volume. It worked out perfectly. I think the only trouble we really had was the sludge we got from Miami. And I think they were confused about what I was wanting as far as I wanted wet sludge. And I think they brought me the oldest sludge that they had, which was fine. We made it work. But in reality, like I mentioned, you want 15% solids, 85% water to get the best of the best as far as ingredients. So, and that's what they brought down. They have a tractor. You have to have a tractor with the PTO, and that's what turns it. It was pretty slick. It's just like a big old mixing bowl. So we put in X amount of wood chips. We put in X amount of sludge, X amount of cardboard to reach this weight that we wanted. For these weights, they're about 14,000 pounds, which is a little bit heavier than what our goals are. But I went up there this morning, we turned it again. If you look at this one picture there, you can still see pictures of paper and cardboard and all that. If you went up there today, you won't see any paper, you won't see any cardboard. And that's just been a couple weeks, 3 weeks out. So it's doing what it's supposed to do. Okay, next picture. And there we go, there's the tractor. That's kind of what we were using to blow in. We were taking paper, putting it in that grinder, and then blowing it into our roll-off bin. So pretty simple. It's a pretty simple operation. Up there on a big scale, they have what they call a digester for Pine Top Lakeside Sanitary. So it's a big long tube, and they inject sludge, they inject paper, cardboard, and all that, and it goes through a process and that. But it's outlived its life, so they're really trying to go to this type of equipment with the farm. It's just farm equipment is what it is. It's basically all it is. And they're really getting a better compost. They're getting better mixtures and better compost end result. Any questions?
We'll let people take some questions here, and I'll look here in the chat box. We're still waiting for some to come in. But some of the things that I'm thinking about here, and what, a real interest of mine is, I know that we've got a limited amount of space for our landfill.
Right.
And, we get to a point where are we going to put our trash? And so a large portion of our trash is carbon-based. And so if we're able to use that carbon for compost or other types of uses, and that can really extend the life of the landfill and keep it, as the small footprint it is.
Right. I've been thinking about, the green waste. I guess what I need to do here in Globe is I actually need to really set aside an area just for green waste, and just to try to see how much we get. I've always been told we don't get that much. But as I go up and down the road to landfill, I see quite a bit of green waste come in. So it might be something to pursue. As far as the cardboard and paper, yeah, we get a lot of cardboard, a lot of good paper. I did take a load down to the valley yesterday of good clean cardboard. I just couldn't, I had to take it to the valley. I took it to Vista Paper. I don't know if I'll make any money off of it, but it was a good thing to get rid of the cardboard, because it come from the fire camps, and they went to all the work to separate it. It was good, clean, non-contaminated cardboard. So, but yeah, I see a real need. That would really help me doing this. I could work with I'd really like to take the contaminated cardboard. When I have contaminated cardboard, I'm really talking about like pizza boxes and like that. That's a perfect thing for a type of composting. Whereas a good clean cardboard, I'd like to somehow be able to figure out how I could offset that, bale it, and be able, when the market comes back, sell that. So, and use that money to kind of offset the composting project.
Okay. Have you got some more slides for us here, Kenny?
I think, do you have any more? I don't think so.
Okay. What I'm going to do is, so this was the basic introduction. The project that's going on is live and going on at this time. So, one day soon, we're going to be able to go down there and get a load of compost in the back of our trucks.
Right. I saw a question just popped up a minute ago about prescription drugs.
Yeah, if you can see these questions.
Well, I can't. I just saw that one real quick and it left me.
Okay, here. Jim Stein is asking, what kind of wood can be chipped? Construction waste?
Any types of wood, any type of green waste, anything.
So if it's construction waste or pallets, that's okay too.
As long as it doesn't have nails in it. That's something I'm gonna have to work on, but I'm thinking it might be.
And certainly we wouldn't want any treated woods, anything that's used for,
No.
railroad ties and
No,
Yeah. And Amanda said she's heard that there is residue from prescription drugs and chemicals in sewage sludge.
That's all killed. That's all killed through the process. The microorganisms, that's all taken care of. And then to be Class A biosolid compost, it has to be sent off, has to be tested for all that, your high metals, everything, and it comes back positive. There's none of that in it.
And so how is that tested? I mean, I imagine we just take it to the testing labs and that's their job.
Yes. You know, I'm not to that point yet. That's my next step, is once we get to that, is working with Dave Smith, and he'll help me get that tested. We'll take a couple samples and get it tested.
And Amanda's also asking about the ink from the paper. Does that end up in the compost? Now, I understand ink is all soy-based these days, so.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So
That doesn't affect it.
Not what it used to be. And right now, the intent is for this to be used by ADOT for roadside and restoration work.
Yes.
So any of the concerns about, I think what we call nano-sized, I don't know, but you know, it just has, it's not something that you have to use in your garden, but as long as it's for a roadside project like that, I think we're very safe.
Oh yeah. Well, I use this stuff. I use the same compost up home in Pine Top Lakeside for my garden. I've grown 200-pound pumpkins using this compost. So yeah, we do eat the squash, the zucchini, and all that stuff. No, we're fine. As long as it passes that test, you know, of all the requirements, it works fine.
Very good. I've got a colleague here. Eva, I'm gonna bring you up and just go ahead and ask that question about what you got.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, thanks. That was really interesting. This might be too detailed, but I have been thinking about inputs like four-wing salt brush. I don't know if it's as big in Arizona, but there's parts of New Mexico where we're just covered in four-wing salt brush, but it accumulates salts. And so I'm concerned about using it either in compost or biochar if it results in too salty of a product for putting it back down. But again, I think, oh, go ahead.
Huh. Where's it grown? Where do you see it? Where you noticed it?
Well, it's native. I see it. I mean, it's for sure up in parts of northern New Mexico. It'll come in if it's
really. I grew up in northern New Mexico, and never heard of it.
It's a very common bush in Casa Grande, the Phoenix area, Maricopa County. We don't see so much of it at our elevation here, but I'm thinking that the process that you're using of water and leaching it out, a lot of those salts are going to leach out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it might be worth, especially if you're going to move it on to restoration stuff in some of the degraded areas.
Right.
You don't want to cause a new problem. That's what I keep trying to figure out.
Yeah.
And when that's tested, I would expect that salinity and those chemicals are all going to be, I mean, not chemicals, but you know, minerals are going to be part of the analysis, and we can see if they're out of range.
They test for iron, metal, all that. They test for all that.
Okay, thanks, Eva. Nice question. Glad you're with us.
Next question.
What else could we talk about with this project? I mean, we don't have to. Okay, I've got a few questions coming into the Q&A for us. So this is what we count on. We've got great people with us to ask the questions. And so Michael is saying, if the sludge were delivered with the ideal amount of water at 85%, would that mean no additional water would be needed? Can all of the water needed for composting, the sludge, the cardboard, green waste come from the moisture in the sludge?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. You would not have to add water. You would not have to add water.
But that was part of,
like we have.
So that was really part of the formula, was having that at a high enough level that it does the job.
Yep.
And Donna Martinson is asking, what does it cost to produce a batch?
What does it cost? I don't know that yet. I don't know that. I can give you numbers from Pine Top Lakeside, what it costs them.
And Donna, I believe that this isn't where they're going to be able to turn around and sell the compost and even break even with it. This is an effort to make sure our landfill is taken advantage of at a, in an optimum way. And if we're able to create a product out of it, that's really good. But while he's looking, I'll let you look for that. And okay. Good conversation here. Thank you.
I know they sell it for $15 a yard. Okay, they do approximately 1,200 cubic yards per year. They sell it for $15 a yard. So they make, best case scenario, if as soon as they're not having to landfill or sludge, like take it to Blue Hills or whatever, so they count that as tipping fee revenue, offset that. So in reality, they make about $95,000 a year between what they sell the compost for and what they savings and transportation, getting rid of their sludge. So it's just a good thing to do. It's not a moneymaker. And Dave will tell you that as well.
Renata asks, do you accept landscaping waste?
As far as like,
I think eventually if this project takes off, that's exactly what you want to be putting in as landscaping waste.
I think so.
All the brush and what we,
Yes.
when we clear off our
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not that far yet. I'm just getting used to this recipe. As far as like home grass clippings and all that, we all use those for compost at home, food waste and all that. So I think in the big picture, I think you can do a lot of that with all this.
Amanda has another question for us. Amanda, I'm going to bring you up, and why don't you ask that question for us? Just unmute. If you don't, then I'll ask it here. Okay, so Amanda is asking, oh, she says she doesn't have a microphone. Okay, sorry. Fair enough. I try, it's
That works.
All right, so the question is, what's your estimated time frame for when some compost might be available to the public? Are you considering having different levels of compost, like some being sifted so that you have a finer grain available as well as coarser?
Yeah, that's part of the big plan. See where this goes. We go to the board next week to get their thoughts and if we move forward or how this is going to proceed. That's all I can say at this point. Right now, this was just really a pilot compost for ADOT at this time.
And the model that we're using is out of Pine Top Lakeside.
Yes.
And the product that they're able to put out at $15 per cubic yard, that's sifted through. And
it is. It's all strength. The goal is you want to save your oversized, your bigger stuff, your big wood chips to use again, because you need that bulk, you need that airspace in the next batch. So you use it and use it and use it, those oversized, until you don't, until you have to get more green waste and all that.
And so would they have like a 1-inch screen, or how would they, what do you see?
No, I think it's it's 1 inch minus.
Okay. So that, yeah, I think that's a good answer there. That takes it. And she says, thank you for doing this as part of your recycling efforts. Thank you, Amanda. Good.
Well, I got to say, I'm an old recycler. I started Town of Gilbert's recycling program in '97. So I started their whole curbside recycling for Town of Gilbert back then. So yes, I'm an avid recycler.
Well, another thing that I want to talk with you about, Kenny, I've had a few presentations with Kevin McCulley up in Payson. And yes. I know that not too long ago, you guys were able to make a deal where the wood waste was taken over to the bioenergy plant near Snowflake. Can you give any story on that? And
I don't. In fact, I've had calls into him, and we've been playing phone tag today and getting those numbers. But I know it was quite a few tons, and I thought it was a great idea because in the past, all we've done up to the Buckhead Mason landfill is once we're able to burn, we just set this whole big pile on fire and burn it. And I thought that's kind of crazy. So we got Kevin McCulley. He's very proactive. He's really fire-wise. He's taking leaps and bounds into what he's doing. So, and actually I need to call him again and say, hey, we got it ready to go again if they want to come get it. But this time I would like them to set aside X amount for us, for the green waste, for our composting projects. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But yeah, we did. Good grief. They hauled out of there for probably 3 days. So like I said, I'd love to get the tonnage, what went out.
well, I know that we've been trying to work with the wildland urban interface fuels around Payson and Rim Country area for the past 15 years.
Right.
And so much of it has had to go to burn pits and just gotten burned. And
Right.
so to be able to have some type of value come out of it, it's a good thing. And
Oh,
it's,
yeah, no, the biomass is saving us. It's saving everybody up there as far as the small diameter trees and the wood waste. It's a good thing. I just hope they're able to keep it going.
I would hope so too. Okay, have we got some more questions from people? If we don't, we're going to make this a short presentation, which is great. You know, people all have things to do and places to be, and just thanks for bringing this up to our attention and have an opportunity to work with you on this, Kenny.
Yeah, it's been good. Thank you.
I'm going to bring up my closing slides here so people can know what we got coming up next. Let me jump back into the chat box and make sure people have the evaluation link handy. If you can fill out that link for me, I really appreciate it.
If you notice, I wear gloves when I take temperatures.
And yeah, wear those gloves because not only it's hot, it's still composting. So you don't.
Composting, yep.
That's right. So this has been our Q&A with Kenny. Thank you very much. Next week, please join us again. Still focusing in on our county services. I've got Carl Melford with the Gila County Emergency Service, who's our emergency manager. And we're going to be talking about wildfire mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery. And so thank you for your time today. I'm going to go ahead and stop the record, and we'll see you all next week.